Yeah, I think the best way for me to kind of address that is to talk about when I interviewed the 55 experts, every single one of them, I asked, hey, give me 2 to 3 habits, mindsets, protocols. Let's call them shortcuts because everybody likes shortcuts that you would share for longevity or a long health span. And we broke down those numbers. 33% mentioned mindset, about 54% mentioned exercise and nutrition. 54% mentioned each one of those. Not necessarily the same people. And then I think it was like 24% mentioned sleep. And at first, I thought that they got it wrong. I thought, sleep, you read the book, Why We Sleep, Freddy Krueger book about sleep. Like it's good for your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. How can it be so low on the protocol? And then it took me a couple of days and I started thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute, what they did get it wrong, but the way they got it wrong was mindset is significantly more important, right? The reality is if you know you need to make movement or exercise changes and you don't have the right mindset, it's not going to happen. If you know you need to make nutrition changes and you don't have the right mindset, it's not going to happen. And sleep, you need to go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, put your device down an hour before you go to sleep. Like if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to make those changes. And so I think mindset is the first thing. I'm working on a longevity course kind of born out of the knowledge that came from these interviews. And week one is not nutrition. It's not exercise. It's not sleep. It's like, hey, let's just get some mindset habits in place that are really, really easy. Because I'm a big believer. I don't know if you follow Dave Ramsey or not. Like his approach to getting rid of credit card debt is don't pay the smart one, which would be the one with the highest interest rate. Pay the small one, even if it's got a lower interest rate, because you get the emotional gain. Like if there's a limitation that humans have, and we have so many, like we just have so many, then you got to address that in any program that you're putting together. And so that's mine is like, hey, 2 minutes of when you wake up, journal. I'm not talking 6 pages. I'm not talking one page. I'm talking like 2 sentences, like, or just two thoughts and when you wake up and in the evening. And so that is what you need to do on day one. Let's get this mindset right so that when you start making changes for nutrition or sleep or exercise slash movement, you're able to stick with it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I want to dive a little bit deeper on that. You said your week one of the course is going to be mindset. So let's dive a little bit deeper on it. Like, what are maybe, if you interview these 55 experts and 33% of them mentioned mindset, what do they mention? Is it like a particular habit, like journaling? Is it just a particular viewpoint on, in perspective on a particular thing, or a perspective on stress, or a perspective on life? Like, what did you learn as to what are like the mindset keys to actually live longer?
So you bring up a very interesting point, right? Because I actually had a team member of mine collate that data. And it's highly possible that what got lumped into mindset were things like meditation, right? Things like yoga. One of the cool things about yoga and even Pilates is those a couple of those and Tai Chi can check off a couple of boxes, right? So there's 4 pieces of movement that I believe you need, which are you need strength training, you need balance, you need VO2 max, and you need what's the flexibility, right? So 2 of those, the balance and the flexibility, can be yoga, can be Tai Chi, and then throw in meditation because yoga really can get meditative and so can Tai Chi. So those are really, really good practices. I need to go back and ask because those might not be, those are clearly mindset, but are they working on the mindset to have the right? I think meditation definitely is, right? Meditation is about understanding you have thoughts that come up that you don't control, but you can then make decisions of what to do with those thoughts, right? So when you're meditating, if you've meditated, you're trying to like have no thoughts and that never happens. Like it just never happens. And the thought comes up and the thought comes randomly, right, from seemingly nowhere. And then you can work on managing that. And that's a great skill if you're like, your thoughts are, I don't want to exercise, but you can manage it. You learn to manage it with meditation. So, I would say absolutely meditation is on there. I think even you could throw in, and we actually broke this out as a separate category, but for mindset, it could actually be the relationships that you have, right? And we break that down in that course into a separate week. But those relationships have an impact on your mindset. That connection to community has an impact on your mindset. I think in terms of changing your mindset, it's a tough one. And that's why I lean on journaling in that course, and you'll lean on affirmations. I think I also am very lucky, and he was a speaker on the summit. One of my best friends is Patrick Wanis. He's a human behavior expert and the best therapist I can imagine. And so I lean on him a lot for kind of mindset changes. And the reality is, if you know you need to make a change, whether it's exercise or diet or relationships or whatever, and you've given it enough time to try and make those changes, and you haven't made those changes, then something's holding you back, and you got to figure out how to address that. And if that's with Juanis, because he's amazing, or if that's with some other amazing therapists, I tend to believe that just talk therapy, you can get as good a results by having a reasonably intelligent, good friend that you go have coffee with, right? That's my opinion. You need to find somebody who's one step up for it. It shouldn't be something in my mind that you're attending once a week. I'm not against it and great. But when I work with Patrick, we're solving something in 90 minutes, and then I don't need to see him for that type of help, sometimes for years.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like from mindset, one of the biggest overall takeaways that you have from it is having a, quote unquote, good mindset, whatever that means, is having the ability to do the things that you kind of know you should be doing. And if you're not doing them, unpacking why, so that you can develop the mindset so that you actually do it.